review that letter? Is there any concerns about it conflicting?
Well, I think in general, the concern is the sort of ongoing interest in GMA, SMA integration and the legal issues. I think you guys all received a recent email I sent to the interested parties list regarding an appeals court case. But I don't know that we see any conflict between section 6 and the previous 3F.
I guess this, I would see as one for David's parking lot there for legal issues, and I think he's actually looked at this already, but,
Yeah, but the second call attention to that is warranted as well.
Yeah.
Here comes this decision out of Kitsap, and it's a remand on the central growth management hearings. But it goes right to the Supreme Court dilemma, paradox they're having, the SMA, GMA, two different statutes, not integrated, externally inconsistent, but yet both are standards that apply. So the question then that we've been struggling with the last couple of years, through code interpretation, we separate it out and we regulate the SMA jurisdiction through the SMP. We did that 2 years ago. That's what that court decision concurred with last week. It's essentially the methodology we've been using. At the same time, now comes an opportunity either to keep them apart or to integrate or to merge. And then the question is how to do that. If you just externally loop it and adopt by reference, is that susceptible to challenge that you didn't properly incorporate? Possibly, that's a legal question.
or do we take the language wherever it applies and bring that into this document and adopt it again, just as we did in that other one, and have this document be a little bit heavier when we pick it
That
up?
would probably be the safest legal thing to do, is take 1822, the critical areas ordinance, and put it right in the middle of this and re-adopt it. Because then it's clear that it's re-adopted, rather than by a circular, by reference. But
Or
that's
to
a
do
parking
it
lot
by,
question
or to
for
do
you.
it by issue in each section, because there's times where there is, overlap.
Yeah, some things will be pertinent and applicable, and some standards will not in the critical area.
So I guess it's just an overall thing I would put in David's parking lot.
In his parking lot. And Michelle, you want to, how about if we write on the board, legal, David Alvarez parking lot, and then list the issues that will be going after elections. And he's quite aware of the subject.
Right.
I just have a question
Specific.
basically about that entire section of principles. What is a principle? Here we have policies, we have goals, we have regulations. For example, G says for policies and regulations in this program are intended. And then it lists requiring certain things and shall be doing certain things. Should be doing certain things.
So the whole
Where
code
the
construct
principles is, yeah, the whole construct of it.
of this,
What
how do you write this?
is, are principles are not regulations? Are they closer to policies? Are they?
Let's go back to Michelle and explain how in the beginning the construct occurred,
In the beginning.
and policy regulation and how beginning to basket out how in format of the word.
Sure, okay. Building from the existing code, the existing Shoreline program, 1825 of the UBC, and looking also at the early work to revise the 2000 draft that was prepared by citizens, consultants, staff. Building off of those and looking to meet the state guidelines of WAC 17326. I guess to your question of principles, policies, goals, regulations, et cetera, principles are more broad scale concepts. The RCW, the Shoreline Management Act itself, has broad guiding concepts, and those are reiterated and further clarified in the WAC, the Administrative Code with the guidelines. In terms of what we have in our documentation, the comp plan and the Unified Development Code, the goals are sort of the broadest umbrella from which we come up with policies that help provide more specific direction. And then from there, we have implementing regulations that put the rubber on the road of this shall happen, this may happen. As we talked before, policies are typically more of a should type of language. So there's guidance, there's direction, when in times of, further deliberation in terms of considering a particular part of a permit application or a proposed use of development. The project planner, the applicant, the public can all look towards a little broader guidance of the policies and goals. I don't know, Stacie, you might add anything to that? I mean, this is, we built it, excuse me, I'll come back. I said, just in terms of how we built the document, we've tried to go from broad in the beginning to more detailed as you move throughout the various articles. So you see we've got governing principles here in Article 1. Article 3 are the master program goals, overarching for everything else. And in fact,
Hierarchy.
Yeah.
Hierarchy.
Yeah, it's a
And there's
hierarchical
state law,
approach.
comp plan.
Sure.
Development regulation.
Mhm.
Okay, then that's what goes on.
sure,
Is, okay, is a policy more enforceable than regulation?
No, I know that, but
Yeah.
where does the principle fit in there? I mean, this is, if we're listing these as principles and requiring people to do things and they shall do things, it sounds to me like it's regulatory speech.
do we have the word shall in a principle here?
Yes, you have, on number 2 on page 104, you have requiring, which is,
Shall include, avoiding
there's
first.
shall
Sure.
include, and
Mhm,
the previous page it says require, current and potential.
mhm.
It just seems like it's more regulatory jargon than principle,
Mhm.
but that's more my question comes to,
I guess
where does principle fit in this?
I would see it somewhat like the whereases of your resolution, that this is how we're meeting state law, and that these are the things we've kept in mind as we create the Shoreline Master Program. And sometimes in code, you can start looping into reading the code in a way that might be contradictory to the big picture when you dig too deep
Or in-
and lose focus for the forest.
Or in writing the code, and we have, we take an oath to obey the Constitution and the law, and we have our CWs and WACs where we get these principles and guidelines, and they're more than just suggestions. They're guide to what we do.
So if there's a conflict between regulation and principle, regulations will prevail.